Today is Wednesday, May 13th, and I am currently in Beijing, China, in the midst of coronavirus, COVID-19, and it is so interesting. August of last year, I quit my job so I can be a full-time entrepreneur and build BlackEXPO and B. B is the company that organizes BlackEXPO. BlackEXPO is a platform for Black-owned businesses here in China and around the world. I did that. I quit my job and then I took a 5-week trip around East Africa. I did that because, one, I really had wanted to go, and when I wanted to do the trip, when I was still working at my job, I kind of got talked out of it, asking if I could do a shorter trip or things like that, or like, is it really necessary to be gone for that long? And so between that and the growing brand and just a really internal push to give my all to this business, I ended up quitting my job, saved up money, and quit my job. So fast forward October, I get back, and I have two businesses actually. So BlackEXPO is really the one that's more heart focused, but then the other one that's more day to day bills is Tianmi Bakery, which is an on demand business that it's bakery, so cakes, pies, cookies. But I started doing a savory menu, so roasted chicken dinners, so roasted chicken, brisket, all of those things, and doing monthly dinners. When it was normal time, actually the income is really good and covers all of my expenses. Um, and so that I did that from October, and then November I did one event in Shanghai. I did 3 back-to-back events for Thanksgiving. So that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I did Thanksgiving dinners around Beijing, and so it was good. Made good money. It was okay. And then December, I went home to the U.S. for about a month. Wanted to go home for Christmas. There had been some family health issues, so I really wanted to be home, and I really wanted to kind of soak that up. And I was kind of burning out because November was really busy. We not only did I do all of those events, but then also I was doing meals every week, and then we also did BlackEXPO. We did BlackEXPO in Shanghai, and then we did BlackEXPO in Shenzhen, and so it was just a lot, meeting everyone, being everywhere, and I definitely was kind of exhausted by the end of it because I'm still learning balance. I go really hard, and then my body's like, yeah, so now you can do nothing. So fast forward, I was home, just enjoying the holiday, enjoying time with family and friends, and then I came back to China on January 21st. January 21st. I had a friend from college who is from Wuhan, and we were talking about maybe me going to Wuhan to meet, like, to hang out with her family for Chinese New Year, which is January, like, 26th, 7th, 8th, end of that month. And in the midst of, between when I landed, it was like, are you still coming, to like 2 days into me being back in China? So they locked down the city. So I got back just in time for the corona spread, corona lockdown, the whole shebang. And everything really locked down during Chinese New Year, which I think is so interesting. But so it locked down, that's normal. Things close during Chinese New Year because it's like their Thanksgiving, their Christmas. Everyone goes home. It's family time. So a lot of businesses will close. A lot of them will just be closed in the cities, especially Beijing. It's like a ghost town. So those of us that stay, it's kind of a quiet time to be in the city, and so that makes it kind of nice. Cool. So I did that and stayed here thinking, oh, that's Wuhan, it's not that bad. Yeah, that was stupid. Thought about going back home, but like I said, there had been some family health issues, and so I didn't want to risk whatever was here taking it back home and then getting people at home infected. And the idea that it was a remote possibility was enough to make me stay. Also, I didn't think, we're like, I kept hearing 14-day quarantine, 14-day quarantine. And so it's like, oh, maybe it'll be like a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then it'll all be okay. So it's okay. Well, fast forward a couple weeks, and then so since my daily bread and butter is in F&B, the food and beverage industry, it wasn't really helpful when my production kitchen in the neighborhood that I normally work out of was on lockdown and cordoned off, and I couldn't get into it. So my daily bread and butter becomes crumbs at best. And so there's that. And then because there's lockdown, there are no events. So the BlackEXPO event that we had planned for March, which was going to be our second anniversary, so we were going to do it really fun. We were going to have a week-long slate of events that was all about building up the diaspora, bringing people together, really problem solving and presenting resources for issues that the diaspora oversees. We were really excited about it, but all of that, of course, got canceled. We had an event at the U.S. Embassy that got postponed indefinitely. And so that was kind of um, the first inkling that this might not be as short as it seemed, because originally we were doing something with the embassy because of Black History Month. But then, the U.S. called all of the diplomats home. So that was kind of the first inkling that, oh, this might not be as quick and easy as it should be. So, in the midst of quarantining, reached out to a friend of mine and was like, hey, you have an extra room and you live alone, I live alone. Can we not go crazy together? And so that was really cool because her and I, we bonded, and now we're like sisters, because what I didn't realize, and she didn't realize, and none of us realized, is instead of it being a couple of weeks, it turned out to be 3 months. So 3 months of being kind of on lockdown, restricted movements, whether it was enforced or self-restricted. It was a mixture of both, because you just didn't know how bad it really was. And so we ended up staying inside pretty much for 3 months, with trips to the grocery store or a couple of walks outside when it got better. Yeah, so in the midst of that, it's crazy that I'm even still here in some ways, because I quit my job and I was banking on building up this income. Because actually in January, when I was coming back, I was like, I'm going to hire someone and we're going to expand and this is going to be great. We're going to grow and increase capacity, only for the reverse to happen. It's like capacity got contracted. Luckily, my friend was super cool and she encouraged me to use her kitchen to bake out of. And the bakery did start as a home bakery, so it wasn't unusual for me to bake from someone's home, but there were some of the issues for me just internally about taking over someone's space, because my baking style is not very concise. I didn't go to Cordon Bleu quite. I went to the Southern Mama Cooking Kitchen class. So learning how to adapt to that. So I've been able to slowly start to rebuild income, but not to the level that it was where I'm making a month's or 2 months rent within a couple of events. Now I'm making a week or 2 weeks expenses. So it's a very different bag. Luckily, I did still have some savings, but those are pretty much being burned through. So that's part of the reason I'm making this video, is because it's just I'm kind of in awe sometimes that I've even lasted this long as an entrepreneur. One of my things has always been to not have to run home. Knowing that I can go home, that my parents do support me, and that they would be willing to bail me out is really nice, mentally. But also at the same time, knowing that I do actually think I believe in the business that we're building, and I do think I actually have the capabilities. I have a bachelor's in business, I have my master's, and I have an honor certificate from my master's program, or an adjacent program, in international business diplomacy. So I should have the acumen and the accreditation that means I can do this, and I have the self-belief that I can do it. So the idea of running home because I wasn't able to sustain is something that I've definitely been making sure that I don't do, just out of my own desire to grow and be independent. That being said, it's crazy to me that I'm even still here, because right now China did this visa extension policy where all foreigners who are still in the country get an automatic 2 months added to their visas, which was great, because I'm on a current visa where I'm really here coming in and out doing different projects. I'm not here full time. And so, but when Corona hit, a lot of the prices for flights just jumped all the way up, or flights themselves just poof disappeared. So they're either really, really expensive compared, like the flight that I've seen is like over $4,000 one way, where normally I can get a flight for $600 round trip. And so that's a huge, huge difference. So if there are flights, and it's only once a week, so it's really stressful, and it's really uncertain, and like my visa time is running out, and so I'm trying to get an extension on my visa because I'm trying to do a work visa so that I can stay here for a year without any issue. But then that just takes time, and everything takes time. And so I'm making this video because when I come out on the other side, I know I'm going to come out on the other side, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the better case scenario. Whether it's better case in the short term, or it's definitely going to be better case in the long term. But when I come out on the other side, I definitely want to remember, like, this is what I was fighting through, and some of the things that I'm fighting for to get here. But I also want to remember so that when I look back in 10 years and I'm like, well, it's been so easy, because selective memory, we kind of blank out the stressful parts. I want to remember this and be like, no, there were definitely some crazy parts where you look at your bank account and you're like, oh, that's how much I have. And you look at your visa and you're like, that's how long I have. And you look at the world around you, you're like, that's where I can go. Yeah, because right now the U.S. is handling things very differently than it was handled here in China, to put it nicely. And it is just a very interesting time. I think I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to wrap this up. But just trying to balance between where I am right now and where I want to be. Like, the really cool thing is, in the midst of this, even though there was definitely a period of depression, and there's definitely a period of like, I don't know what to do, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm stressed out, definitely had panic attacks, definitely like was just overrun with stress and anxiety. That definitely happened. Definitely tried to cope in ways that were weird. Definitely tried to happen. But now coming more on the outswing, and then having this whole weird visa situation just like kind of crushing on me. I did lose my train of thought, but coming out of it, it's really cool that one of the things that we did want to do for this year was to build our e-commerce platform. And so that is definitely in the process. We're building that out and doing a lot of things behind the scenes to get that ready. And so I'm very excited. So it's like there are good things that are happening, and then these logistical, environmental issues that are playing like on my mind. And so this is just for me, it's a vlog, a diary of like, okay, this is what we're trying to build, this is where I'm trying to go, these are the obstacles that are ahead of me, and I know I'm going to overcome them. So I'm making this video as like okay, wow, that's what we overcame, that's where I was coming from, cool, that's amazing. But also I think speaking it out for me will help me to feel a little bit less in my head, a little bit less nutty. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put this out. If I put this out, wow, congratulations on you for watching this. Recorded on my MacBook while I'm wrapped in a blanket because my apartment is cold. I call this place my hustle apartment. You'll never see it. It's not cute. But I just want to remember this period in my life as a defining moment of like, am I actually going to get it done, or am I going to crumble? And my goal is to get it done, not to crumble.